Welcome to the next episode of Small Business Chat. We're talking about one of our favorite guests again, even though she doesn't know it. Taylor Swift recently wore the other day to her boyfriend's football game. Her husband's, or not husband, geez, not that far yet. Her boyfriend's number on his jersey, 87. So we're going to talk about if that's possible, as if she wanted to trademark that because she's been doing a lot of trademarks lately. Again, joins me today is Matt. How's it going?
Warm. It's actually very warm in this office. It's very cold outside, but in my little studio here, it is it's hot. It's hot. But anyways,
What a difference! What a difference between because I was during Thanksgiving, I was having a little fire pit outside my house,
yeah,
and it was nice and not too cold, not too warm, just like a nice
yeah,
even amount. And then I think it was actually Ian's wife that told me that next week is going to be a huge difference in temperature. So
yeah.
I'm
I
like,
mean,
wow, she wasn't kidding.
yeah, Raleigh, North Carolina. I think are we normally like probably in the 50s or the 60s during the day right now in December, and like maybe in the 40s at night, maybe 30s, high 30s. Dude,
Yeah.
we're in the 20s like overnight. Like, and that's just like that's like maybe a week or so in February for us. This is just it's chilly. But aside from that, I'm glad I'm all bundled up and all that sort of stuff because I'm originally from Florida and I never wear, everyone yells at me for not dressing appropriately, but I'm like, I'm gonna be inside, it's gonna be warm. When I finally start dressing appropriately, now I'm freaking hot. And like, yeah, just like I'm looking at you right now across the hallway here, and I'm like,
I feel
dude,
good.
how are you not cooking in that? That looks heavy. It's like a guy. That's like a jacket that you'd see like a guy wearing on like a work site to keep him warm during like in like New York construction or something. No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
more of
good
like a
looking jacket.
Carhartt jacket. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's got like a sort of a leatherish outside and like a fleecish inside. If everyone needs to know our fashion sense, and all this
And
stuff.
man,
Because
did you do the right thing and warm up your car before you drive it in the morning?
yes, because my favorite car is my 20-year-old, literally 20-year-old Expedition. And then in the black one, I have to warm up because that has a 4-minute warm up before you can drive it. You cannot not warm that car because it's bad for the engine.
Well, with your Expedition, you have to. There's no like push start. You can't. Can you start your car from far away, or you have to,
It's 20 years old.
turn it? Yeah, yeah,
There's no
that's right. That's
start.
for. That's right.
Yeah.
There's no
Only
way.
push start would be if you push it down a hill and dropped it in the gear and it would start. That's a 20-year-old
Mhm.
car. Now but I have a garage, fortunately, as you do too now.
As I do finally now. Yeah.
There you
My
go.
Alex actually came over to my house yesterday and he checked it out for the first time. He's doing well,
Yeah,
by the way. He's doing good.
good. Glad to hear.
So,
All
but yeah,
right.
so let's go ahead and jump on into it. For
87.
Taylor Swift, she's wearing a necklace to one of the Travis Kelce's games the other day. Did the Chiefs win their last game? I know they lost one with the Bills. Did they actually? They
Yeah,
went
they
against
won.
the Raiders. That's right. That's right.
I think
I mean,
they
it's
played the
Thursday, I
Raiders.
believe.
Well, I just assume they won. I think they just awarded them the game. Yeah, it was Friday, and I think they had to have won. It's the Raiders. I mean, come on.
I have
You're a
grown
Steelers
to
fan.
not.
You just gotta hate the Raiders.
Well, to be honest with you, I've grown to really dislike the Chiefs now. They're turning into the Patriots for me, just winning everything. And it's not them
Yeah,
they're really winning. It's just, I don't know. I used to like Patrick Mahomes, but now I just think he's a little punk. I don't know. What do you
he's a
think?
big. Well, I don't know.
He's on your
I've never
fantasy
heard
team.
anything. I've
First
never
round
heard any.
draft pick.
I know. I've never heard anything bad about him. I know he's still. I don't know if he's happily married. I wish him all the best. I think it's a challenge for almost anyone. It seems to be you get these one great team after another, and like the combination of Kraft and Brady and and Belichick, obviously, just dominating the league for 20 years, and then come out and then have another team, Reed and like Mahomes, Kelsey at all. It doesn't matter who else they put in there. They have tons of other amazing players. It's just tough for anyone who's like a Pittsburgh fan, especially AFC teams, because you think to yourself, how many championships would my team, like Buffalo probably would have had a championship right now if it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes, and like, maybe even Lamar Jackson may have already had his first ring as well. And you're just like, well, it's got to be tricky. So is that why you hate him? Because he beats your teams? Or have you heard stuff?
No, it's just more of the things I've just seen online. I don't know if you watch many TikToks or Facebook Reels or anything. I'm into it here or there. But it's just a lot of kissing up to Patrick Mahomes I've seen like from the announcers and stuff. It just makes me dislike him. I don't know. I
Okay.
feel like and there's like a lot of cases if you go back and or if you even search like Patrick Mahomes getting the game from refs, I feel like there's some of his games are rigged. some of the Chiefs games are rigged
Yeah,
because
there's
of
always
how the refs like give him. There's like some block or not blockers. There's some defenders that just skate right by him and don't even try to tackle him. Like they're being paid to not tackle him.
that's part of the NFL because I mean you can't if you tell you see what happens if you touch a quarterback in the NFL, you may get suspended for a couple of games. And I think that they've gone a little
But he's
I
past the line of scrimmage, so he's an active runner. It's crazy.
if I played in the league today and I was on defense, I would absolutely have no idea what to actually do in reference to a quarterback because I think too often there need to be a rules adjustments. Like I understand you can't hit the guys, and this gets back to your point, but on the same vein, then like I watched Mahomes the other day, and I do remember this scramble for like 30 or 40 yards because the dude behind him thought he was going out of bounds, and then suddenly he's just like, "Oh, I'm just going to go down the sideline because I don't have that." The answer should be is that's crap because they're all afraid to hit any quarterback. And so if you're
Because of the
still in
fine.
bounds, you should be able to light somebody up. Or if you want to protect the quarterback, that's fine, but blow it dead the minute he starts slowing down, coming near the sidelines, because it's now a thing that they do. They're gonna think I'm going out of bounds. So the defense lets up, and then they say, oh, and then they cut back and they turn on the jets, and you're just like, well, we let up because if we hit him, we're gonna get fined and we're gonna get a penalty flag. So I think it's a bunch of BS. So maybe that's what he's get. And there's absolutely a bubble around the not the spokesman, but the guys that are carrying the flag for the NFL, and Mahomes is obviously the biggest one. Like if you even touch Mahomes, you're getting a flag. And because he's the face of the league. That's what I'm thinking of. He's the face of the league right now. So I don't know if there's like it's rigged, but it's definitely like I think it's easier once you get to that superstardom, because you can't touch the dude, and all that sort of stuff. Which by the way, I wanted to mention this. You are aware the more stuff that you look at on Facebook, TikTok, the algorithm picks up on that. Because literally
Right.
my son was just home from Thanksgiving break and he's like, let me see your Facebook real quick. I'm like, okay, why? And he's just like, yeah, I just want to see like what you were watching. And it's all like UFO and conspiracy documentaries and all that sort of stuff. He's like, see, because that's what you watch. And I'm just like, that's true.
It's funny the light in your office just flickered when you said UFO. That's interesting.
Oh, they're here and they're among us. I'm absolutely convinced of that. But that's can you trademark that? I don't know. So 87. Can you do? There's a
Right.
lot of things that are implemented
First
in
of
investigating
all,
this.
first of
Oh,
all, I
we
want
want
to
to do an update?
mention in
Yeah.
this article, for some I guess they found it really interesting to just basically price out her actual outfit that she wore to the game, even down to the Versace bag and the boots she was wearing. She was wearing like a $4,000 outfit
And
between her. Go ahead.
respectfully, I watched The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and $4,000 is actually very modest in comparison to what Miss Swift is her net worth, because they showed the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and I thought this was a little bit ostentatious. But one woman had a purse, and then her smaller purses and makeup bags and all that sort of stuff. 76,000 just for the purse setup alone. It was her name's Kyle on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I was like, "Woo, you go!" But I'm like,
That's
"But wow, that's
ridiculous.
that's yeah, this because the main bag was over $40,000. Yeah, I'm just like, you doesn't have wheels, can't drive it. What is it? But yeah, that's who they are. So when I hear Taylor Swift's wearing like $4,000 worth of stuff, I'm like, for a self-made billionaire that woman has worked so hard to get to where she is and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, that's actually very modest from my perspective. By the way, because I'm sorry, we're both married. Um, our wives are more modest than that, I would say, right? Probably your
Right.
wife probably doesn't walk around in four
Definitely,
thousand
most
dollars because
definitely.
you may have words, but
Yeah, I might.
words like
Maybe
we're
her nails are
taking
worth
it
that much, but
back, things. But yeah, but I mean, so you can just buy like where it really goes up fast. Like I don't know what Miss Swift was wearing that day, but probably like the handbag is probably the most expensive. Like a good woman's handbag that's like moderately priced is probably like in the thousands of dollars these days. I mean, yes, you can get like if you went and got like a name brand like a Gucci or a Louis Vuitton or something, it's like, I don't even know what those cost because I just don't shop at those stores. But it's probably like 5, 10,000 bucks, you know. But again, so she's wearing 87. Is it a bejeweled 87 or is it just a regular 87? I've never actually seen a picture of it. I just
It looks like I got a close up of it. It's actually kind of blurry when they zoom it in. But it looks just like the number in like the silver, and then in the middle where the outline of the 8 and the 7 is
right.
obviously the Chiefs red. But it doesn't look too flashy. It's literally just the numbers 8 and 7 on like a looks like to be like some sort of gold chain, I believe. Let me
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, some sort of gold chain. So, but yeah, I mean, so if she were to go trademark his number, do you think she'd actually get it?
I think you can. I mean, we saw Lamar Jackson, recently do the number 8, right? And I think that
Hmm.
there's a bunch of different things for anyone who's looking to trademark something that potentially could be what we call ornamental in the business. And so, for instance, like, could she trademark it? Yes. But what would actually protect is the bigger question. So, taking it from the jersey up and then going back to what she was wearing, I think there's a different answer for each one. So, a trademark, as we're all aware, effectively tells you the source of the goods or services. So the classic example of what you couldn't trademark theoretically would be the yellow smiley face on that t-shirt because it's deemed ornamental. Doesn't tell me who's producing the yellow smiley face t-shirt and whatnot. So if you tried to trademark the number 87 when it's emblazoned across the front of a jersey, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office is probably going to say it's ornamental, descriptive, whatever, but they're not going to allow you to do that. Flip that on its head, if you're actually just using it and your company is 87 Inc., or whatever, like uh what's the Rock's production company? $8. It's either $8 or $8 because he tells the story when he
Hmm.
came back from the Canadian Football League, he only had $8 in his pocket, and it's to remind him always to stay humble because you never, even though he's worth a lot now, it could be gone tomorrow. And that's a good life lesson because it's absolutely true. So enjoy it while it's here. Don't and be humble about it because life can hit you in a different direction. You never know what's coming from. But anyways, so you're not going to be able to protect it from it being emblazoned on an NFL jersey. Lamar's not going to be able to like stop anyone else from using the number 8 in the NFL or kids having the number 8 on their jerseys. But for the production company, if it's actually produced by 8 Inc. or 8, whatever, then you actually could stop someone from having a company name that. Now, let's move up that neckline to the actual jewelry, right? If she were to try to protect it as if she was trying to protect it in reference to jewelry, like I'm looking at David Yurman and people who actually have trademarked the look, and sort of the style of stuff. So it's not so you get a patent if it's functional in the design. But if it's just a look and feel, and I'm trying to think of a great example of this. Can you think of like what I'm like David Yurman, who has the like the you know what I'm talking about? It's a designer, he's a jewelry designer. His stuff looks like rope, except it's made out of metal. Have you ever heard of him?
Mm-mm, no.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I know you can get a trademark for that. You can get a trademark for the cross G's of Gucci. You can get a cross trademark for the YSL for whoever the hell that is. I try to think of like, the luggage manufacturers and Louis Vuitton, and the LV and all that sort of stuff. So could you probably get 87 for jewelry and then actually protect the design of the 87? I think there's a chance you could actually get that if she wanted to. I don't
But
think she's
obviously
going
not
to do
have
it.
the sole rights to the number 87. So anytime anyone tries to
Correct.
use
Like she
87,
would,
they don't owe her money.
right. Like you can't stop people from using the number 87, but could you theoretically stop them from using the number 87 in jewelry if she got that trademark? Yes. But and of course, we're just talking about just hypothetical. Where would be the market for the 87? I mean, there'd have to be a lot of Taylor
Hmm.
Swift slash Travis Kelce fans and fans of their relationship to go out and buy a gold necklace 87 on it, and such. I don't think there's probably a market for the product, but then again, that would be up to Miss Swift because I mean she's a little bit better at marketing than I am, and she's younger than me and she's done better in her life than me. I'm just gonna cry here in the corner for a minute.
Maybe you should start singing songs. Do you have a singing voice, man? I don't know about.
No.
No.
Yeah,
I
I
could
mean,
sing in the shower pretty well sometimes, but
and
myself,
or
I'm
I could
not really much of the singer either.
catch balls in the NFL too, but I'm not nearly remotely Travis Kelce's size, and I'm about 25 years older than him, so I don't think that's
Do
going to
you, do
work
you
out either.
actually do you actually know how Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift met? Do you know?
No.
So they actually met over a friendship bracelet.
Bumble.
No bubble. No, yeah, right. I don't even think she needs to have that. I don't think she has any problem getting any type. She can pretty much get any guy she
Famous
wants.
singer. He's like, play football. Okay, go
So
ahead.
apparently, so apparently, I guess Kelsey is a fan of Taylor Swift, and he attended one of her shows in actually Kansas City. So she was in Kansas City on either a tour or on one of her events, and I guess there is a popular tradition around her fans that at her concerts they have these bracelets that they give her apparently, and some of them have I guess personal notes on them, and he was there giving his friendship bracelet out to her, I guess. And he didn't even give it to her personally. Obviously, it was just I would assume some sort of collector, either in the in the audience or something, or around the stage. And he wrote his phone number on it. I don't know what else he said in it because it said "call me" or something, but had Travis Kelce's phone number on it. And I nothing anywhere between there, but I guess one thing led to another after that, and the next thing you see is Taylor Swift publicly going to one of his games and sitting up in the stands with his family. And then pretty much, I guess it just kept going after that. That's
Yeah.
literally what started was a
Well, good for
friendship
them
bracelet.
because when you're as famous and as, if you when you've done financially as well as they both have, and as you're famous about that, I think it's really hard to find true love. So you wish them all the best and all that sort of stuff. Because I'm a romantic at heart, and I just hope it works out for them and all that sort of stuff. And I also hope that every once in a while they can get some privacy away from this, the prying eyes of the BS paparazzi and all that sort of crap. Because it's they just want to be able to go out and have dinner. And unfortunately, it's almost like the paradox of fame, which you have to do that well financially if you're famous, because you couldn't enjoy your life otherwise. And people would be like, well, why did she have to rent out the whole restaurant? Because otherwise she couldn't put a fork of food in her mouth, her or Travis Kelce, without 17 people shoving, hey, sign this, hey, sign this. And like, can we just have dinner with, whatever.
Right.
By the way, it's one of the things I've heard about Los Angeles from my friends out in Los Angeles, and we have a lot of people in the entertainment industry. One of the things that people like about living in Los Angeles is a lot of times stars do not get accosted in Los Angeles, and they can go out to regular restaurants because everyone just knows this is where they live and they work and all that sort of stuff, and it's a little bit easier. New York is a little bit like that as well. Primarily because New Yorkers don't care about anyone else but themselves. They're like, oh yeah, Travis Kelce, but I don't really give a crap. Bye. And they'll just keep about their normal day or whatever. Whereas like in LA, I think there's just this general respect for to some degree, especially like the restaurant owners and all that sort of stuff. But I waxed on about that. All right. So number one, could she do it in reference to, all the different things? Is it ornamental, in what she could do it? I think, yeah, I think she ultimately could do it. We're not talking about marketing. So the lesson is to our small business people who actually may listen to this is that if you have something, like if you want to protect something like, what we call ornamental, the numbers on a jersey, a smiley face, or just a big logo or something like that on the front of a shirt. Generally speaking, you can't do it because it's ornamental. However, if you start using it as your brand and it basically, basically like it's, the difference between, The Rock putting like $8 entertainment or whatever it is on a shirt or 87 on a shirt if you're Taylor Swift or eight, on a jersey if you're Lamar versus using it as your company name and putting it on a tag like as it tells you where it's coming from. Well, your hang tag on your shirt. That's how you would actually do it. Moving up to jewelry, I think you could actually do it. Absolutely, you could just simply do it. But for any of our small business customers, if they have questions on that, we can sort of generally tell them if they ever want to buzz us at the trademark company.
Right.
We can't give them specific advice, obviously, on it, but we can tell them the general rules and give them more examples and all that sort of stuff. What else we got, Shay? What do you think? Do you think that's right? Is my analysis proper?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I've seen all kinds of different trademarks get accepted for all sorts of different reasons. My big question to you is, and I wonder if this even plays a factor. Obviously, Taylor Swift is a billionaire. If she were to file a trademark for this, she's got a billionaire or a millionaire lawyer or attorney backing her on filing it all. Do you think having that massive amounts of money to be able to push things through like this, do you think she could just throw her money at it and get it somehow because of how much money she could throw at it? Or do you think the law still upholds and the examining attorney is obviously going to make their decision and not really, has if Taylor Swift has any sort of power behind just her having that status and also the money to kind of push through?
I got a story on this. So,
Oh, it's story time. Let's go. Get the marshmallows.
so the general answer is, I think that the more money you have in life, I think there's a great quote by, God, I can't remember. I think it's Jay-Z. No, 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 it's Steve Harvey. Forgive me. I love comedian Steve Harvey and such. And he's like, Steve Harvey will always tell you money makes problems inconveniences. So in other words, I don't have any problems anymore. I just have a lot of inconveniences because if I have money, money will take care of things. So the general answer is, if you're a gajillionaire, you can hire better quality legal counsel, than the next person can. Like, so, not everyone needs legal counsel to, do legal things anymore, as we're aware. But you know, you have a high price, really good, I always say just New York, but high price New York, Washington, D.C. attorney that can then call up the examining attorney, can write a really good response if that's needed or something like that. Then yeah, absolutely, she probably would have a better chance because she can throw money at it. The story I was going to tell is I'm an examining attorney. It's probably my first 3 months at the Patent and Trademark Office back in the day when I worked there, like in year 2000. And I get a trademark across my desk. And it's basically, it's for a place you may have heard of it called Trump Taj Mahal. And they're trying to trademark Trump Taj Mahal for casino services. And I look up, and obviously I didn't know what the heck I was doing way back then. And I look up and I'm just like, well, no, I'm going to refuse this trademark because there's, Trump this and Trump Tower and all that sort of stuff registered. And I was literally trying to refuse a trademark because President Trump, not president then, business person Trump at that time, had already registered his name in reference to other properties. And now he's trying to register in reference to Trump Taj Mahal. Literally, his attorney calls me and he's like, Matt, he's like, this is such and such from whatever big law firm, President Trump was using at the time. And he's just like, listen, I hate to tell you, try to teach you trademark law here, pal, but this is not a 2D refusal. My client owns both of these. Withdraw this, so I'm going to have to go above your head. And that's what the money buys you is access, right? And so I'm just like, well, sir, I'm sorry. I dug my heels in the ground. I'm like, no, sir. I'm confident I'm right. I was completely wrong, but I'm confident I'm right because I was, young and dumb and, and all that sort of stuff. About 5 minutes later, my managing attorney, a great old guy named Sid Moskowitz, walks down the hallway and he goes, hey, Matt, how's your day going? And I'm like, oh. And he's like, so my law school classmate just called me and he's like, he tells me you refused Mr. Trump's trademark over another one of Mr. Trump's trademarks. And I'm just like, is that not a thing? He's like, okay. First of all, approve it, call him back, apologize. He's like, second of all, he says, come to my office and we're going to learn trademark law a little bit better than you currently pack of Oreo cookies under your desk. And then you'd be like, I'm sorry, Sid. And you'd slide the pack of Oreo cookies over and he'd have like two cookies and he'd forget about it because he just was a cookie fiend and all that sort of stuff. So the money that Taylor Swift has buys you that type of access. So that like, if you hire a good attorney, it's not who you know, it's who I know. It's, first of all, they're going to be right. They're going to actually be able to call the actual examining attorney and basically be like, hey, and try to convince them verbally, over the phone. But then secondly, if they're not able to do that, a lot of them will actually just know the managing attorneys and they'll go right above the examining attorney's head and try to call them, but basically be like, hey, this should get registered. Don't you think? Wink, wink, nod, nod. Wouldn't you like to work at my firm someday? Wink, wink, nod, nod. So when you retire from the Patent and Trademark Office, come on over to mine. Now that's not trying to impugn anyone at the Patent and Trademark Office, but I'm sure that's happened every once in a while that people get big jobs and stuff. Patent and Trademark Office is generally going to like do things straight by the law, but you just have more access to them and more ears that will listen to you if you have that type of cash.
Okay, so I guess that roundabout is that there is a possible
Yes.
chance that Taylor Swift, because of the massive amounts of cash she has, could play a factor in her getting or pushing through a trademark. I mean, the other day, I mean, I had a customer that I won't name any names or the trademark, whichever, in case she somehow listens to this, which I don't think she will, but which is she had a trademark that she got registered. Well, it was about to get registered. It was in the opposition phase, and then within the registration phase, she got an opposition.
Yeah.
She got an opposition, and it was from another company that had a decent amount of trademarks. Some of them were similar, but at the end of the day, USPTO passed it through. And
Yeah.
I was trying to talk to her. Obviously, we can't give advice to her, whichever, but I was talking to her about just going through the opposition because at this point, the USPTO is already giving you the trademark, right?
Right.
At this point, all she needs to do is just go through the process of the opposition, and generally you should win since the USPTO has already sided with you. And she
Oh
gave
yeah.
up the trademark. She gave up the trademark. She said, I don't want to spend any more money on this or the legal battle. Even though this name is very important to me, I just don't want to go through the hoops of trying to
Yeah,
get
the
this to
money.
go through.
Yeah.
But if she had the money, she would be able to do it.
Well, and as we're aware, and I know we got one other update to get to here quickly, but as we're aware, it's a 20-year legal career, longer than 20 years now, and all that sort of stuff. I'll just generally say, the more money you have, the more justice you can get. The
Hmm.
scales of justice are absolutely not blind in this country, and I'm not talking about the USPTO. I'm just talking in general. I think we need massive reforms because the playing field is never level. I mean, OJ literally admitted, and God rest his soul, even though I know he was a murderer, but he literally admitted to the murders in his I Did It book. And but he got off because he could afford arguably the best trial team in the history of lawyers and such. And they did a masterful job of, when people say, well, they didn't do that great of a job. I'm like, they got a guy that admitted he did a double murder off. They did a great job.
And then he
They
got
did their
arrested and
job.
sentenced to jail for robbery.
Yeah, then well, that's always the issue with the guys that get off for literally the big crime is then they get like a mind like, well, I can do anything now. And he did a armed robbery in Las Vegas. And they in Las Vegas is just like, we're gonna put a little bit more confidence. Well, they had it on tape. I think he admitted to it in an interview. And I think his defense was, yeah, it was my stuff. And you're just like, and that's like I mean, if he had an attorney at the time, I think he admitted to him like on the first thing he didn't have a lawyer. I would never, you don't admit to that. The attorney would have said, shut up. We're not calling you as a witness. You're not going to admit to crap. And then I'm going to make them see, but you get cocky and it should have been like, okay, the defense should have been
If
like,
I got
okay,
away with murder, I can get
I got
away with
away with
robbery.
murder.
Yeah.
They got me off. And the answer is, well, you admitted to this, you knucklehead. The answer is don't admit to it. And then I would call out forensic. If he would have had the same defense in his second case, he would have gotten off too. I would have gone through the forensic. What do you mean there's a recording? But who recorded it? You mean the people that actually, are alleging he stole us sort of stuff? Well, we need this validated by experts. Oh, there's been tampering with this tape, whatever. Anyways, what's our update beside my raging on the criminal justice system and the justice system in general?
Oh, well, just one smaller one. Well, smaller as in the time we'll talk about it. I've seen a couple news articles that and she was actually talked about in one of our podcasts. I would say maybe a couple months ago. But from what I've seen, it apparently Haley Welch, which is she's known as the Hawk Tuah girl, she is now a millionaire. So she, I guess, because of her merchandise and how popular she is, I mean, she made like roughly 200,000 or $300,000 within a few couple of months when she first became famous, but now she's a millionaire.
Good
So,
for her. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean that's it. It's nice. It's nice to see someone who I don't know what she did before this, but to capitalize on her internet fame and her, and her fleeting fame. And I think the big challenge is for her is to be intelligent enough. It sounds like she is to just roll it into something bigger. The reality shows, maybe a little acting lessons, something, and keep it rolling. Yeah, good for her.
right, right. So yeah, that's pretty much the only update I have with that. That pretty much wraps up everything we have for today's podcast. As always, if you have a number, if you have a slogan, if you have a trademark name, a logo, whatever it is, this episode is sponsored by the Trademark Company. So we always leave the link in the description in our YouTube channel. So just go to the description after watching this. If you need any trademark assistance, one of our lovely trademark agents would love to help you. So other than that, that's all I got. Matt, anything to say to the folks?
Peace out. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. You'll see us next week. And again, happy holidays. Have a great day.